Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, everybody. In case you don't know me, my name is Lindsey Hall. I am a divorce and intimacy coach, which is sort of weird to say because for a long time now, I've been calling myself an intimacy and empowerment coach. But the really cool part about being self-employed and running my own coaching business is that I can change my title whenever I want. Hi, Sherry. And I have just decided to change my title to divorce and intimacy coach because that is really what I'm specializing in. So I am here to help people transform their pain from their divorce into power, really own their own power, and come through this season of life in a way that doesn't feel like, oh, I just barely survived that, but instead feels like, oh, I can't believe I had this experience. I got to take on all these cool new beliefs, shed the stuff that doesn't belong to me anymore, really transform into this new version of you who is here for messy growth, absolutely incredible courage, unfiltered joy and pleasure, and just all of the things that make us human and make life worth living. That's what I'm here to do with my divorce coaching. Big aims. So, on these tea break chats, I like to talk a little bit about what's been going on for me in the past week, what's been coming up in lessons, in struggles, in just all the things, life chat, and then I answer your questions. So the theme for this week for me has been twofold, actually. The themes have been really stepping into my own expertise, like really owning my status as an expert, and trusting that it really is all working out and that I have more than enough time for it and that I don't have to control the outcomes of things. It's been a big week. So in terms of the trusting my status as an expert and really stepping into that, this is coming about in a few ways. So if you watched last week's tea break chat, I talked about the fact that I have a new job, and it is very exciting. And last week I was talking about how that came about. So if you want to hear more about how I manifested this new supportive job to run alongside my coaching business, watch Tea Break Chat 80. But so I started it this week. It's all happened very quickly. So this week I started this new job and have had to really have words with myself a few times about the fact that I am there because I am an expert. I am there to be an expert. I am there because I'm an expert in what I do. And although I've been doing a lot of that work on myself anyway, it's really been a thing this week. So I am a corporate accountant by training. I spent the last 12 years in corporate accounting, walked away from that about a year and a half ago in order to do my coaching business full time. And I have gone back into the world of corporate accounting for a fixed term contract in order to bring in some more money to support my business. And I'm in this role, I am doing the things that I love best from my old role. And I am there specifically to help with the annual report process because in my old role, I did the annual report, which is the once a year report that really talks about the business's performance in the whole year, stuff going forward. It's big. It's a lot of content. It's required for listed PLCs, which are the biggest of companies in the UK. And so there's not a ton of these companies around, and therefore there's not a ton of people with experience doing them. And I have a ton of experience doing this. So this company needs my help with that. And I am absolutely perfectly positioned to help them. I have so much experience. I have so much I can bring to the table. And yet, there's been a few times this week where I've been just hang back and see what they say. Or, well, it's their process. They've run this for a couple of years now. I'll let them get on with it. And I've had to go, you're here because you have more experience in this than they do. You are here to help. You have gone through this process before many times. You have seen the pitfalls. You have done it a better way. They have literally hired you because you are an expert in this. So act like a bloody expert. And it's been really fun to step up into that. It's been really fun to go, yeah, I do know what I am doing. I am an expert. And to really claim that for myself and to go, yeah, this isn't a fake it till you make it situation. I really bloody know what I'm doing here, and I can really help. Like, there's stuff that they're doing that's gonna end up kicking them in the ass later. And if I can avert that, if I can throw in my expertise and make some changes at this stage, and it will make everybody's lives easier down the road, that's what I am here to do. So don't hold back. Like, say the thing, because that's why you're here. And it's been so fun. So at the same time, doing that in my coaching business and really looking at closely this, where have I been holding back on that? Where have I been afraid to claim my expertise, to go, yeah, I am a bloody good coach. I am really experienced at getting through a divorce and doing it in a way that feels really fucking good. I've got, loads that I can offer to my clients, to my audience who are watching the free content, to all of this. And instead, I've been really looking at, where have I been softly tiptoeing around, being like, oh, I want you guys to make sure that you feel empowered in this, which I do. So that's the tricky part of my brain, is going, but I want you to feel like the expert. I want, at my new job, I want them to know what they're doing and to feel like they own this project, because they do. It's their project. They own it. I want them to be like, oh yeah, we rocked this. And as my clients, I'm not telling you what to do because I'm exerting my power over you. I want you to find your own power, and to all of this stuff comes from inside of you, and I'm helping you uncover it. But because of that, there's times where I'm afraid to say the things that need to be said, because I want it to come from you. But that ends up being so softly. It ends up being so like, by being afraid of my own expertise, I end up not helping at all. Or it's really slow, and then what's the point? The whole point of working with a coach is to speed up time, to compress time, to make changes, bigger changes, and faster than you could do on your own. Because all of this work can be done on your own. Of course it can. But the point of hiring a coach is doing it faster, is it compressing that time. So if I'm hanging back and not saying anything, then what help am I? And that's a really cool part about coaching, and where we get to bring our experiences to it. So it's a difference. And I'm always also a bit hesitant to talk about the difference between therapy and coaching, because there's lots of differences, and there's loads of different ways of coaching, and there's loads of different ways of therapy. But one difference is that therapists really don't bring themselves into the therapy room at all. The therapy room, and I'm, literally or figuratively, is all about the client. And the therapist is not there to bring any of their self in. In coaching, we get to do that. We get to bring in our experiences. We get to bring in our opinions. For me, it's why I loved coaching. I saw a coach as opposed to seeing a therapist, because I wanted somebody else's opinions, personality, all of that. And by my coach bringing more of them, it really allowed me to discover more of me. Having somebody else holding back would have slowed down my discovering of myself, even though the goal is to discover more of me. Actually, in my experience, having a coach bring their full self lets me bring my full self. So, all of that said, I realized I've been holding back on some of that, and have really this week been looking at, okay, so how do I claim my expertise here? How do I get to say, listen, this is what worked for me. I think you should try it. Or I can see where you're repeating that pattern again, and instead of pushing forward for more change, it's holding you back. If you want to do that, that's fine. I am never here to tell you what to do. But I am going to point out that I can see how this is holding you back. I am going to point out that if you continue doing this behavior, you're going to continue getting the same results. If you want to have a different outcome, you need to do something different. You need to open your mind to this new belief possibility instead. You need to do this behavior different. And I can see all those things. So that's my expertise, and I'm going to use them. I mean, isn't that the whole point of paying for a coach? Is so that somebody can point out the stuff that you can't see? It's not that I'm then imposing this is how you have to do it. It's the only way to work. Here's the exact words you should say or the exact action you can follow. And if you don't, you're going to fail. It's nothing to do with I am the only one who can, do any of this. You are the one doing it. You are the one making the changes. You are the one finding that power inside of you. But it's my job as your coach to help you discover that. It's my job to point out where you're stuck in a rut. It's my job to point out you could try it differently this way instead. If you do this different, that's where you get to look at it. So that's been the theme of this week, really. Really owning and stepping into my expertise in the corporate world, in my coaching business, in all areas of life, going, I'm not here to do this softly. There might be some of you watching this who are laughing hysterically at the thought of me being softly, because I don't always have a reputation for being the most softly, subtle tiptoer. But actually, when you really, this is the thing with all of this work, you first of all, how you come across to other people might not have anything to do with how you feel inside. Second of all, it might be true that I'm not very subtle sometimes, but there might be other areas where I still feel really held back, holding myself back. And it's about continuously peeling back more layers. So yes, in some cases you might be like, what the hell, Lindsey? When have you ever been subtle in your life? And other times it's oh my gosh, why did you not just say the thing? There's so much that I don't just say because I get worried about hurting people's feelings or coming across too strong or. And it's all this continuous work. It's all of yes, I am not perfect. I still mess things up a lot. I get things wrong. I cry. I'm vulnerable. I worry about all these things. All of that is true. And I'm also really bloody good at what I do. I am also a really, really good coach. I am also really helpful when it comes to going through a divorce and showing you how you can change the patterns, because every time I hear somebody say oh, but my ex is doing that, or he won't stop doing that, or she won't quit. It's not about your ex. It's about you. And I can really help you own that too, because it's giving away your power to say, but it's their fault or their fault. And my job as your coach is to help you realize it's actually within your power. So I am claiming my power and going, yeah, that's my job and I'm really good at it. And I can help you make big differences if that's what you're looking for. If you don't want big differences, if you want to carry on with what you're doing, absolutely fine. Don't let me tell you otherwise. But if you do want changes, if you do want to stop letting your ex's energy suck the life out of you, if you do want to create new patterns and healthier relationships going forward, and you want to make these changes, then I can absolutely help you because I'm really good at it. So there you go. But like I said, that's been the theme of this week. It's not always easy doing that. There's lots that can come up and scare us. And so this is the continuous work, is to continue to work through these things and to get more and more intimate with ourselves. People ask me what intimacy work is. And this is part of it, is that getting intimate with yourself and continuously doing that work and asking the questions of, where am I holding back? What's holding me back? How do I want to move forward? What's that next level of me look like? And not being afraid of the answers, because it can be scary sometimes to really look in deep at yourself and go, oh, I didn't realize I was still doing that, or whatever it might be. So intimacy work is going in, digging around, and knowing that whatever you find is absolutely lovable and part of you and should be integrated into the whole you. Okay, I'm gonna check time. We're doing good. I've got one question to answer for today. And I love this question because it's so relatable for me, absolutely, and for so many of you, I'm sure. So the question is, how do you have patience with yourself when you want change now? You want answers now. How do you have patience with yourself? And how can I see it as a love letter to myself to get more present and closer to myself rather than getting frustrated? How do you do it, Lindsey? Oh, and like I said, I love this question. It is so relatable. And the answer is it's not easy. So first of all, I'm sending you so much love because I get it. And it's See, I'm doing it now. Taking a deep breath. They're really coming into the trust that it is all working. Sustainable changes take time. And in terms of like how I do it, reminding myself that I don't think I can think of any examples where trying to force an outcome has ended up with the best outcome. There's lots of times where I have tried to force things, whether it's in interpersonal relationships, whether it's in my business, as an employee, in changes in myself. I hate uncertainty. I hate not knowing. I hate slow changes. I want things to happen now and in a way that I can control. And so sometimes, so with that feeling of uncertainty and out of control, one of my go-to tendencies, which I'm doing a whole lot of work over, but is to try and force certainty, is to try and force an outcome. Even to the point where it's like, I don't care what the answer is, I just need a bloody answer. Like, just give me an outcome, whatever it is. And like I said, I can't think of a single example where I've done that. I've forced certainty, I've forced an answer, I've forced an outcome, and it's helped or been the right answer, or been the final answer. It just never works. It just isn't the right way to do it. Like, I have so many examples of that in my life, that when I'm feeling that urge to rush things, to speed them along, to force an answer, I remind myself, it's not how this works. I wish it was how it worked, but it's not. These things take time. These things need to follow the process they need to follow, and actually giving them the time and the space that they need in order to resolve themselves is going to be the best outcome for everyone and everything. And I know in this particular case, this is a health outcome that you are looking for. And try as you might to control your body, to get it to fess up the answer sooner, to get it to tell you what it needs, forcing that isn't working. If it did, you would have had your answers already. Forcing it would have already worked, and it doesn't. So reminding yourself, my body is going at the pace it needs to go at. My body is telling me the information that I need to know at the pace that I can handle that information, at the pace that I can do something about it. And the process of giving myself the time and the space to come to these answers is all part of the journey. It might not even be about the end answer. It might be all about the process. The bits that you're having to do to try and get to your answer, those bits might be the whole reason you're doing it. You might go through the process of trying to get to your answer and find out it resolves itself, because actually it was in the process that the answer actually was hiding. All of those, or maybe you'll go through the process and there will be an answer at the end, or a partial answer, or some more information which leads you in another direction, which gives you something else to go for. We have no way of knowing where it's going to take us, but really leaning into the fact that it is all working for me, and that this process of exploration, this process of slowing down, listening to my body, tuning in, really getting deeper into what is my body telling me, what does it need right now, what is it asking for, how can I give it what it needs, really paying more and more attention to what is going on in your body, the signals it is giving to you. All of that might be the whole purpose of this. And I know that can be frustrating. I know it, because when I apply it to other areas of my life, I'm like, I can see how all of that is true, and yet I still want this different outcome, and I want it faster, and it's annoying that the universe isn't working on my timeline. I get it. I wish that I could order the universe to work on my timeline, but I can't. In the same way we can't control what our exes do, we can't control what the universe does, we can't control our bodies. All of these things need to happen in the way that they need to happen, and actually letting go of that need to control, letting go of the trying to force the outcome and create certainty, and just going with, okay, I'm going to do my bit, and I'm going to trust that the other pieces are falling into place. So doing, working with the professionals that you're working with, doing the paying attention that you're doing the tracking that you're doing, take the aligned actions along the way, but trusting in the process. And I get it, trust the process is one of the most hated phrases, but it's a real phrase for a reason because it actually is the whole point. So I hope that was helpful. Really just reminding yourself of that over and over. And if you need to keep rewatching this, keep rewatching it. That's fine. But this, you'll, keep tuning in, keep listening to your body, trusting that it's all working. Okay, that's all for me today. Good timing. I'm going to be off to pick up my kids soon. So that is it for me today. If you would like to do some coaching with me, if you would like me to tell you, I see you repeating those patterns. Hey, let that shit go. It's not serving you. Hey, you're holding on to that and it's holding you back. Hey, they're not the ones causing the problem here. You're the ones with loose boundaries. Hold that boundary. They can't affect you that anymore. If you want all of that, if you want my expertise in walking you through the divorce process, in understanding how to take back your power in the divorce process, if you want any of that, give me a shout. I am your divorce expert. I'm your gal. We can do it in one-to-one coaching, or we can do it in my new group Divorce Crucible program. In the Divorce Crucible program, you get 2 group calls a month and 1 one-to-one call a month. You can always upgrade to more one-to-ones if you want to add those on. That's totally fine. But we talk about a different topic each month, really going through what changes do you need to make in your life, in yourself, in order to really pull your power back from the divorce process. If you're interested in any of that, check out my website, lindseyhallcoaches.com. It's on the divorce tab. Send me a message. If it was tables were turned, I would just send a message and say, hey, can you give me more info on this? Yes, send me that message. I will send you the info. Absolutely. I understand. I am lazy and just want people to send it to my inbox. So if that's you, totally cool. If you want to book a call to talk about it, if you're like, oh, I'm interested, but I'm a little bit scared, or I don't know if group's the right setting for me, if I want one-to-one, all of that, I can do a free call with you to talk about the options. But basically, I'm really good at this, and I want you to be really good at it too, and I want to help you uncover your own power in this process. So if that sounds good to you, give me a shout. Okay, I love you. I'll be back on the same time next week. If you've got any questions you want to ask me, send them to me in whatever form works best for you. I do always put up a story box on Instagram stories on the Tuesday before. But if you don't want to do the story box, that's fine. Just send me a message however you want, and I will answer your question. Okay, love you lots. See you next week.